since 1924, I believe is the date. The Ledger and the Ledger Media Group have been bringing in great coverage and covering not only our colleges, universities, and professional, but the high school scene. And Roy Fuoco from the Ledger, welcome back to Sports Central. I don't believe you were there on day one, right?
Yeah, 1924. My mom wasn't even born then, so.
But you've been there a long, long time, and you've seen a lot of great athletics here in Polk County, and it's got to be an exciting time for you as well. We were just talking about how we're excited. It's got to be an exciting time for you.
Yeah, and I've been telling coaches, the more I've talked to them during doing some preseason football, that I've been more interested and excited about the season coming up. I think it's going to be a lot better, a lot competitive. I mean, at different classifications that you wouldn't really may not pay too much attention to, because obviously a lot of attention this year will be on Lakeland. But some of the other smaller classifications will have a lot of intrigue this year.
Well, let's talk about Lakeland first, because you brought them up. Is it for a program? Bill Castle has been there a long, long time, and I think he's won a state title in 4 different decades, if I'm correct. Is the expectation, because of some of the players moving around the county and what Lakeland has on their roster, is the expectation state title, or it was a lost season?
Yeah, I mean, the expectations, there've been different years that, like even the last year, time they won in 2018, people expected knew they had a good chance to win the state title, but this probably hadn't been this amount of expectation, I guess we'll stay with that word, since 05 and 06, those last 2 national championship years. Going into those years, everybody expected them to go undefeated and win state titles, and they did. And it's just as much this year. With the talent around, there's not really a weakness on the team. It's just a matter of just getting all the new players to play together and develop that chemistry, and not, remember there's only one football to go around,
Right.
So it's like someone, and there's a good depth at different positions. So, people that may have played every down on other teams, they're going to have to probably realize they may be rotating in and out a little bit more this year, and they're going to have to sacrifice their ego for that. But so the transfers that went to that school probably had to know that going in. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, well, that's great. Just talk a little bit about a few of the other teams in the county, what to expect. I know Lake Well's got a great team, and you talk about transfers. I know Lake Gibson lost some there, and they have a new coach this year. So just briefly about some of the other expectations for some of the other schools.
Yeah, well, to stay with the same classification, Lake Gibson, I think their offense, their running back, you don't replace a Jalen Glover, and they got a kid from Winter Haven, Jacoby Fowler. But he was hurt in the spring. They don't expect him back, at least last time I talked to the coach, till at least early in the season. But their passing game, they got a transfer in from Arizona, Jackson Akins, I believe his name is, 6'2", and got a good arm. And they have some receivers, even though they lost like Sam McCall and Cormani McLean. Tyson Gast is back, and he was actually their leading receiver last year. So they have receivers. Their question mark will be on defense. They're going to have to rebuild the defense, between some graduations and some, players lost. And they got a tough schedule. But I think they'll be, competitive and, hunting for a playoff spot. Lake Wales, I think, might be the second best team in the county. They get the quarterback back, Trent Grosjean. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't know how to spell it. But he's probably one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the county, and the deep at receiver with Carlos Mitchell, the junior, and everybody's going to be wanting him next year. They got a really good running back, Corey Harris Jr., who's a really good sprinter. His father I covered 25 years ago, played for Lake Wales. Wow. And they got a pretty solid defensively across the board. They got Jeremiah Anglin, who committed to Kentucky. He's one of the top defensive backs in the county. Deep year for defensive backs in the entire county. So Lake Wales should be good there, and then be interesting to see how good the teams are. Victory is rebuilding this year, but Lakeland Christian and Victory will play each other for the first time this year. They're putting the same with the reclassification that Suburban Metro changed. They're putting the same district this year, so they'll play. People wanting them to play for years since they're the top 2 small private, Christian schools. So that would be a good game to watch. And then, Frostproof might have, and I haven't talked to Fort Meade yet, except a little bit at 7-on-7. I'm hearing Fort Meade has their best team in quite a few years, and Frostproof may have their best team in quite a few years too. So they may be battling it out for the district title in week 10. They both may go in. I'm not saying undefeated, but and that's one of the good rivalries. Small school rivalries. The Frostproof and Fort Meade.
Well, and you talk about the talent. We've always, hit on the fact that this is just a hotbed, not just in football, but in all sports. But last I saw, it was some crazy number, like 40 or 50 Polk County athletes have Division I offers. And that doesn't even include the Division II, Division III, and other levels of play. So that has to be one of the largest numbers we've seen in Polk County in quite some time, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you include the underclassmen,
right.
Yeah, you hear, and it's hard to keep up with all of them because there is so many. But like I mentioned, Carlos Mitchell earlier, Brayshawn Williams is ranked 29th in the state among juniors, the highest ranked player from Polk County, who's ranked, and he's at Lakeland. He's one of the Lake Gibson to Lakeland transfers, and he may not even start. That's how deep Lakeland is in the backfield. But yes, and you have him, and then. There's been a couple other players I've been talking to when I talk to coaches that you hear they have sophomore, and I can't remember who it was. It already has 3 Division I offers. But yeah, it keeps piling up, and I think what happens is the coaches know to look at Polk County, and so that even helps. And I've always said that the best friend, if you're a good player but not getting looks, especially in football where they're looking at film, your best friend is that star next to him, because I don't know how many times I've heard you talk to a coach, well, how did they see so-and-so? And they're looking at, video of a certain player, and they notice, well, who's number 55 there? Because some players stand out.
Somebody that flashes on the tape.
Yeah, and so, or they're at the game or something. So and so that helps even more. With that next level a lot of times.
I think I just showed my age. I said the tape. I'm showing my age there.
I try not to say tape or film because I try to be accurate. So I'm trying to say video all the time now. It's not even. Well, I guess it's video. Yeah, it's video, even on the computer.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, moving along out of football into, which would be just around the corner, winter sports. Obviously, last year Lakeland Christian girls had that state run and won the state title. What does winter sports look like? Is there a chance you think they can get back, or any other teams who may have that chance to in winter sports to maybe run for a state championship?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm still trying to get a handle on the fall, but I mean, Lakeland Christian, they have just about everybody back in girls soccer except a couple seniors who were really good, but you can replace them. And then the leading scorer, the girl who's expected to be the leading scorer, Maddie Lopez, who was missed all of last year, she's rehabbing great from her knee injury, and so you put her on top of that state championship team. They probably have, the last 2 years when they won, they might have been underdogs either because of graduations from the first state championship team, or the year before not having won. But this year they're going to go win with the target on them, that they're the team to win. And then Winter Haven and boys basketball, they got just about everybody back from the Final Four team last year, and KJ Parker from Bartow is transferred to them, and he was a first team all-county player. So again, there's only one basketball, you got to develop that chemistry, and they had that last year, Winter Haven. I thought they played a very good unselfish brand. So they're in winter they'd be one of the teams to again watch. And then obviously you got to pay attention to Lake Gibson wrestling. If they graduate, they got guys back, and it's just a factory right now.
Well, always it's amazing to me the amount of information that you have in your head when it comes to all these, because there's a lot of schools here in Polk County, and looking forward to volleyball. I think it's been a while since we've had a state champion in volleyball. Maybe there's somebody there. I know you guys are still compiling the previews, but tell us when those. I know the top 16 for football is dropping, but will there be other profiles on other sports?
Yeah, I mean the Super 16, our top football prospects, ends Thursday. Then the football will probably run 4 teams a day. We'll start either that Thursday or Friday for the next week, and then we hope to have top players, top teams to watch for some of the other teams in like volleyball and golf, swimming. I mean, Mary Lee Hardman is back in swimming. She's already won 3 state titles, and she goes into her junior year. She's from Lake Wales, so she's back. So I'm looking for another good year from her in swimming. Cross country, that's the interesting year because Crystal Gomez graduated, and you don't hear about that real good freshman coming in. So it might be a more interest in how teams compete against each other in the county as opposed to the top. Now you never know who really makes a good jump, from year to year. So that'll be interesting. And then I learned last night, I'm pretty sure that Winter Haven's best player transferred to Lakeland in volleyball, and so Lakeland has been pretty good, even though they graduated a couple of top players. They had a really good sophomore in Erin Miller, and if I'm right, that Carissa Michael, she's on their roster, but she was a 2-time first-team All-County girl. So Lakeland might be the team to beat again in volleyball.
Well, they're telling us we've got to go to break, and we'll go ahead and go to break because we want them to buy papers, right? If you give away all the secrets today, so go to theledger.com or go pick up your paper. But Roy, as always, we appreciate your partnership and your coverage of athletics here in Polk County.